How does Social Security determine whether or not a person is disabled and therefore unable to work? Well, the answer is that the administration applies a 5-step sequential evaluation process to determine whether or not someone is disabled. At step 1 of the process, Social Security is going to look at whether or not you are gainfully employed. Now, many times clients call me and they say that they are disabled, but unfortunately they are pushing themselves to work every day because they have no choice. As a result, they're getting more and more they're finding it more and more difficult to sustain their employment. They're missing more work. They're having sleepless nights with chronic pain, but they feel they have no choice. Unfortunately, I have to tell those clients that if they want to apply for Social Security Disability or SSI, they're going to have to stop working before they apply, or at least reduce their work hours to 20 to 25 hours per week and make less than $1,070 gross income. That's effective 2014. Keep in mind, each year that figure might raise slightly, but as of 2014, if you make more than $1,070 gross income per month, you will not be able to file for Social Security Disability or SSI. That's also, by gross, I mean before taxes and other withholdings take place. You'll either have to stop working altogether, or you'll have to reduce your work hours so that you make under that amount. At step 2 of the sequential evaluation process, Social Security looks at whether or not a person has a severe physical or mental impairment. Generally, most people have no problem passing that test because the whole reason they're applying for Social Security Disability is because they have some kind of medical problem for which they receive ongoing medical treatment and/or prescribed drugs. At step 3 of the sequential evaluation process, Social Security is going to look at whether or not your specific medical condition meets what's called a listing in Social Security's listing of impairments. The Code of Federal Regulations contains a listing of many serious medical conditions, and it states in very specific medical criteria what kind of laboratory testing or examination results, for example, are required for a claimant to either meet or equal, which means kind of sort of meet, the listing. So for example, at step 3, a person might win their Social Security case by saying that they meet the listing for Alzheimer's disease or a spinal disorder. These listings are usually very hard to meet. The criteria is very specific and it requires that the condition be very serious. Even if your condition does not meet a listing, you can still qualify for Social Security disability benefits. At step 4 of the sequential evaluation process, Social Security is going to look at whether or not you can perform your past relevant work. Now that's work that you've done on a full-time basis over the last 15 years. Thus, if you've done sedentary, say, office work that doesn't require a lot of exertion as your past work, unfortunately, it may be harder for you to win a Social Security case based on physical limitations, because Social Security will look to see whether or not you can perform that relatively physically easy past job. Likewise, if you have a severe physical limitation and all you've done in the past is construction activity or landscaping, it will be easier for you to get past step 4 and show that you cannot perform your past relevant work. The final step of the analysis is step 5. And that's when Social Security looks at whether or not you can perform any other work activity in the national economy. So for example, if you're a 45-year-old man and you can no longer perform your heavy job as a roofer due to back pain and leg pain and shoulder pain, but if the medical evidence does not show that you are also precluded from an easy sedentary job, for example, being a factory assembler, having the opportunity to alternate sitting and standing all day and lift only light weights, then unfortunately you will lose at step 5 of the sequential evaluation process. At step 5, you must also show that due to the severity of your physical and/or mental limitations, there are no other jobs in the national economy that you can perform. I'll go into at a later time how this step 5 is affected for people over 50 and people over 55. Generally speaking, if you're over 50 and over 55, it's a little bit easier to win at step 5 of the process.